Going on, Jake here with Uncommon EDC, and today we're taking a look at the Tunenge S5 EDC flashlight. This one ships with a USB-C rechargeable 14500 lithium-ion battery, but can accept standard AA batteries, which is great. If this one dies on you, you can swap it with readily available AA's until you can get it back to a charger. And I always like to have that option because you don't always have a charger with you, or you can't always wait for it to recharge. Maybe you need it right away after that battery dies. And so, like the option, it does come with a USB-C charging cable, which is included, as well as two filters, which is a nice touch as well. So an orange and a red. It's going to kind of dim them a little bit, but also filter out that color for a little bit better signaling. And so really great package at $23.95 and a little bit cheaper again if you get that green version. Now the flashlight itself is a 6061 grade aluminum, 3.66 inches in length and about 3/4 of an inch in diameter, 0.74 inches in diameter to be precise. Weighs 1.94 ounces with that battery installed. Has the port cover right here that keeps it a IP66 grade water and dust proof rating, and then a 1.5 meter drop test. Includes a two-way pocket clip, which is great if you want to clip that to your hat or to your pocket. Magnetic base, so you can use that for a little bit more mounting options. And then really simple user interface. So it does have a lockout mode, which we'll explore a little bit at the end. Also has a memory mode for the moonlight, low, medium, and high modes. No memory for turbo, strobe, or SOS. You always use your special clicks to get to those. But the UI is pretty straightforward, especially for the main mode. So first off is the single click to turn it on or off. That does have that memory mode, and you can see the battery indicator that has both green and red LEDs in there for different charge levels. And so the memory mode, if I leave it in medium, turn it off, of course it's going to turn right back on in medium. Once you turn it on with that single click, it's just a long press to cycle through the different modes. Single click again will turn you off. And so we start out in low, which is 30 lumens. That's going to run for 18 hours. It has a beam distance of 25 meters. Long pressing for about a second gets us to our medium, which is a nice bright 120 lumens for 6 hours and a 50 meter beam distance on this one. And then our high is 420 lumens, 5-hour runtime on that, 98 meter beam distance, super bright for our high mode. We can long press again to cycle back to our low mode, or at any point you can double click to get into your turbo. You can do that from off as well. Our turbo is 1400 lumens. 4-hour runtime, 168 meter beam distance. One thing to keep in mind is it is going to step down over time, just like any turbo mode. They don't always advertise it. This one, for example, uses a smart sensor that determines the battery level and the heat to determine that step down or that ramp down. And so it's going to be a gradual ramp down, but you're not going to get 1400 lumen output for that entire 4 hours. It's going to get dimmer and dimmer until eventually that battery dies or it overheats. And so that is something to keep in mind. It doesn't have a specific step down at 30 seconds, for example, but depending on the temperature outside and the current battery level, that may determine the speed of that ramp down. Now there is a moonlight mode as well. I like that it's not in the main cycle because I often prefer to just use the low over the moonlight mode. But if you do a long press of about a second, you get into your moonlight mode. This is only 3 lumens, but you get a runtime of 168 hours. So if battery runtime is a concern for you, this is the way to go. That 3 lumens is a little bit brighter than like a 1.5 lumen, and so has about an 8 meter beam distance. But this is really good for, finding the keyhole, finding things under the couch or your car seat, whatever the case may be. Not going to be ultra bright. It does preserve your night vision though. You can cycle directly from there into our low, medium, and high, and it does remember your moonlight mode. And so if you were to turn it on into moonlight mode, turn it off, turn it back on, it is going to stay in moonlight mode. So that is one of the modes, the only special mode really, that it has memory mode on. Now we already showed the turbo, which you can again get to from off as well with the double click. And then we also have a strobe and SOS mode. So if you're sensitive to flashing lights, be aware that there is going to be some for the next 30 seconds or so. Feel free to skip ahead in the video to skip those flashing lights, but we're going to go into that now. So triple click gets us into our strobe. And that's going to be the 1400 lumens as well for about a 6-hour runtime. Triple clicking again while you're already in strobe is going to get us into our SOS mode. You notice that's not quite as bright as our strobe mode, and that's because this is really meant to get someone's attention. 120 lumens, but you get 18 hours of runtime there, so it extends that runtime by going into those lower lumen modes. Now, we do have a lockout mode as well. That couldn't be simpler to remember because it's labeled right on the flashlight, press 2 seconds. So it's just a 2-second long press. Go past your moonlight mode, and you'll get this triple click or triple flash to let you know that it's in lockout. Anytime you press a button in lockout, it will flash 3 times, just letting you know it's there. And then if you long press again, just go until it goes into your moonlight mode. You know you're out of that lockout, and you can cycle from here into your turbo or any of your other modes. And so it makes it really simple. Nice to have that lockout mode so you don't get those accidental battery drains or burn holes in your pocket. You do have that heat warning there. And so the button itself is nice and tactile click, but it is relatively easy to click. So you do want to utilize that lockout mode if it's going to be banging around. It's running a Lumens 10-watt LED, 6500K color temperature, which is that neutral white. Overall, just a really great flashlight, really great price point. We can take a look at it with one of those filters on if we'd like here, and those just slide over the top. They also have this loop so you can put them on a lanyard or whatever you want there, and we'll put it in turbo so we can see what that looks like. And so you see that nice orange glow. You can use this to kind of signal a little bit better. It's not gonna be that ultra bright beam that you're getting out of your normal turbo mode, but you can see that glows pretty light. You're going to be able to see that from very far away. It even puts out some of that orange light onto the table or the surrounding area. So really nice that those are included. They're compact. They can kind of nest them inside of each other as well. Now that does heat up a little bit, but I believe they're pretty temperature resistant on that as well. Overall, great looking flashlight, really great output. Love the user interface on here, super simple operation. Let me know what you think of this one down in the comments below. Again, I'll link to this down in the description. Going to be one link for both versions. You can just select either the black or the green depending on what you're looking at. I would always just kind of price compare on them because like I said, I think the green's about $3 cheaper right now. You can get that one for around $21 on Amazon at this moment, but prices do tend to fluctuate on Amazon, so just kind of price compare for yourself or choose the one that you think looks best. But thanks so much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking, commenting, subscribing, checking out some other content. All helps the channel out a ton, and I hope you have a great one. Take care.